article in the paper the other day about the inside-outside tax district and the new truck that we bought. And there was some, I don't know if they're misquotes or whatever, but I found one thing over my career. When you talk to a reporter, about half of what you said comes out the right way in the paper and the other half's like, oh, it was all somewhere. It's just their interpretation of what you're trying to say. And if they're not in the fire department, they don't understand what you're talking about. But hopefully we can clear some of those things up. This new truck that we've got, when we sat down as a committee to design this truck, it was part of a master plan that we started a long time ago with a 1998 ladder truck that we bought, which was quite expensive at the time. And we found that when we designed that truck and we worked with this particular company called the Suffin Corporation, they're out of the Columbus area in Ohio, they build a stainless steel body, and the life expectancy of the bodies are obviously a lot longer with stainless steel in the Northeast. Salt is really bad for fire trucks, and the last two trucks that we've gotten that need to have been replaced, the salt's taken quite a toll on them. So we found that with this 1998 truck with the stainless, it's still in pretty darn good shape for the year of it. So we designed the 2008 truck that we replaced in 2008 around that concept, and it worked well. That truck replaced a remember my figures here, 44-year-old bumper. It was long overdue to be replaced. It was tired iron. The average life expectancy of a fire truck is approximately 20 to 25 years. 25 years on a good situation. And this truck was 44 years old. So the first one we replaced in 2008 is designed to go out as a first response piece, the first truck out of the station. It has a foam addition to the water tank. And we can put a Class A foam, mix it with the water, put it on the fire, and it's almost 50% more effective than extinguishing fires. And then the next truck that was scheduled to be replaced was the one we just bought. Was a 26-year-old fire truck, and that truck was a useful truck for about 20-25 years. And then we had issues with the salt, again, cracking the frame, swallowing the frame from rusting and cracking. And so we replaced the new truck with the new truck that we have now. The truck that we have now would be our second vehicle out on a rural fire. Anything in the outside district where we don't have hydrants. And the reason being is both the new trucks have 1,000 gallons of water on them. And 2,000 gallons of water properly applied to a fire should knock most of them down if we get reasonable notification in time to actually do something constructive. That doesn't always happen, we understand that, but that truck was designed with rural tactics in mind. And both of the engines that were responding out there, we increased the horsepower also, so we can climb these hills on the south side of the city. Now we were talking earlier about one of the trucks they had when I came in. If you drove that truck up Crescent Ave, you could walk faster. Literally, I did it. and to go along with that, the brakes were so inefficient, Lou can speak for that, you were scared to come back down Crescent Ave. And God forbid the truck stalled on the way up because it would almost not hold itself there. You literally had to get out of the truck and throw a chock underneath the wheel. Today's trucks, we were the maximum braking that's available. We try to get the horsepower to match the weight of the vehicle so you have a good response up these hills. And in the city, we also have them governed down so they run about a top speed of about 60 miles an hour. I mean, we can design these trucks to go 80 or 90, but we don't want to do that. We don't want to have anybody be tempted to do that. So the new computer-controlled engines, you can tone that speed limit down to whatever you want it to be. 60 miles an hour in a 40,000-pound vehicle is fast enough. But the big thing is getting up the hills. And if you can maintain a 30 or 40 mile an hour speed limit going up the big hills, you got a good response time. The committees that put these things together, the last committee for the truck that we just purchased was 6 of us plus the chief. sharing ideas, doing research. A lot of guys work at home to gather information, and then we meet on certain times and dates and sit down and share the ideas and beat each other up literally, because some guys want something and some guys want something else. And try to come up with a cost that's reasonable, but get what we need to have. When we sat down on this last truck, we were shocked at $440,000 for a pumper. That's a lot of money. Then we looked into why, because the one we bought 2 years ago was $363, so it was almost $100,000 more in 2 years. That's a pretty big jump. And what we found was, along with everything else, everybody's safety conscious, lawsuit conscious, so a lot of things are designed into these new pieces of apparatus in the safety regard. They have a computer on board which does amazing amounts of things. I don't even know how they engineer it, but if we went around the corner too fast, they'll actually let the throttle down to slow you down. Things, you know, you can even get more elaborate than that, but we kept it to what we thought would be fair and safe and reasonable, cost effective. You know, most departments, if they bought that same truck with the options that they wanted, would have been about $600,000 just for a fire engine, which is, like I said, I came in when fire trucks were less than $100,000 for the best one you could buy. Now they're for $100,000. Just for informational purposes, the last one we bought in 2008, the chief had applied for a FEMA grant and received the FEMA grant of $296,000, which went a long way to pay for that truck. So the city only had to put out 65-ish on that truck to pay for that. They got a really good deal on that. And again, it was a 44-year-old piece of apparatus that was just not reliable. The new truck is also we call it has the largest cab you can get. So we can fully put 6 guys in there, and they can all get dressed with their air packs and all that without bumping into each other. Before it was tough to do that in the past, and this new truck is very nice in that regard. They can be dressed when they get to the scene; they're all ready to go. They get partially dressed at the station, and when they get in the truck, they start putting everything else in. So I think we've got a good solution to some of our rural district problems, and that same engine would be utilized in the city on any major fire, or a second call if we had 2 fires going at the same time. So it's kind of a multi-use truck. The guys that put the time in to engineer the truck and put the final specifications out there, I tried to calculate out how many hours we put into that last truck, and it was over 200 hours that we did on our own time. One of the things that a lot of people don't realize, that the firefighters, we do a lot of work on our own time that's related to the fire service, but not necessarily on duty. Guys will come back off duty and sit and have a meeting, and we'll all talk about the truck, for example, and you know, we won't charge the city for that. We just do it because we want to have the best piece of apparatus. And we also try to keep the costs as minimal as we can and get what we need. There's a lot of bells and whistles that we don't get. If you look at some of the rural departments that have some more money, especially the ones around the bigger cities, they have, it seems like an endless supply of money. They get a lot of extra stuff on their trucks that really doesn't put fires out, just make them look nice. That's their issue, it's not my issue. So we knew we had a budget to work with, and we designed a truck that would fit that budget and fit our needs.
You did a fire up on Dave's Way. How long would it take you to get there?
Well, actually, not having done that in a while with the new trucks, we did it in years past with the older vehicles. We can get there quicker, but I'm going to say from the time of the phone call to the time we're up there would be less than 10 minutes, probably in the neighborhood of 7. The new trucks pull the hill so much better.
With the old trucks, you trade them in, or what happens?
Well, some departments have a replacement schedule of 10 years, the richer departments, and their trucks are worth something when they go to get rid of them. Our trucks are basically scrap. We put the last one up for bid. It was a 44-year-old piece, and what do we get, chief, $800?
$98.
It was worth more as scrap than it was as resale.
Is this the fire truck that you had to build a garage to house it in? Or was
Well,
this a different truck?
That's a little
Because
bit
they
of
built a garage on the side of the fire department.
the problem was that all the trucks now are dimensionally so much bigger. The old station, you couldn't get the compartment doors open because the beams that hold the second floor up were right in the way. So it was something that we had to have for a lot of reasons. The new trucks, I don't know if any of you have ever seen it with the cab up. If you want to check anything on the engine, the whole cab tips forward. And when that's up in the air, it's 15, 16 feet up there. And the old station, you were hitting the rafters before you even got the cab halfway up. And so we couldn't service the vehicles in the old station. We had to either go down to the DPW garage or wait for a nice warm summer day and take it outside to get the cab up. And that started with the ladder truck back in '98. It just didn't have enough room to do that. So as part of the design to get more office space, which we do have, and bigger truck bays, that's what the 2-bay addition was for, so we could get those trucks in there and it's not bang doors on each side to get them, just to open a compartment door was a pain.
Jim, isn't there, when you design or build, you have to be concerned with ISO for the, like the tanks, you said your last 2 trucks are 1,000 gallons apiece or something.
Right.
Don't you have to maintain a certain level so that insurance rates, particularly on commercial buildings,
Right.
will stay down with ISO office?
ISO, for those of you that don't know, is Insurance Services Organization. They determine what your fire insurance rates are going to be, what you're going to pay as a homeowner or as a business owner, what your rates are going to be for your fire insurance. And that's based on a lot of information. One is the water system for the municipality you live in. And another big one is obviously the fire department. Is it paid, is it volunteer, how much equipment do they have? And a lot of that goes into what we have to design and what we have to maintain as a minimum to keep the fire insurance rates down. If we went to, just for instance, we got rid of the hydrant system, so we have to shuttle water every place we go, you automatically go to the highest rating, 9, which is not the rating you want. Anything that doesn't have hydranted system in your municipality is a 9, and that's terrible rates. Syracuse Fire Department, or Dan worked up there for a while in the police department, but Syracuse Fire Department is one of the few departments in the nation that has the #1 rating. That's very hard to achieve. You have to have X amount of personnel, X amount of equipment, a great water system, and unbelievable amount of record keeping to maintain that rating, and that's a phenomenal rating. I think we're running 4 on the inside district and a 9 on the outside district. 9 being no hydrants. That's a big factor.